You know what? I'm just gonna do this unscripted. Fuck it. There's way too much stuff has happened, so I'm not gonna be able to make a proper script out of it, even if I wanted to. Okay, so the RGG Summit happened around, or rather started around 4 hours ago. It ended a while back, and I've been on a Discord call almost ever since, and just talking about everything that happened, and it still boggles my mind. Like, everything that we've seen in the span of, what, an hour, 2 hours or something? Okay, so I'm just gonna talk about everything that we've seen, and yeah, that's gonna be it. So, Ishin is getting the Kiwami treatment, somehow. We knew that it was gonna happen. Not necessarily the Kiwami, but the release of Ishin in the West. Because of the success of Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro and similar games, it was a no-brainer for Yakuza that had two such games to release something like that to the West. Personally, I thought they were just gonna do the whole remaster thing like they did with Yakuza 3 through 5, because most of them did have the same engine and technological requirements and all of that. But instead of giving that, they just went, okay, we're remaking Ishin from the ground up, we're giving you new faces, new characters and all of that. The whole shtick behind it, I'm not sure if you're all familiar with it, but it's just a historical retelling of a very important portion of Japan's history with the faces of various Yakuza characters. The main difference between this Kiwami version and the original Ishin, which was never officially translated, is the faces. You normally had characters from Yakuza 3 through 5 being the faces of all these historical figures, but now we have the likes of Kuze, Awano, Zao, Jungli, not Jungli, Jungi, and who else? I remember seeing Mabuchi. But beyond the few replacements, I feel like a decent portion of it is still gonna be the same. It's obviously getting the Kiwami treatment, so there may be some gameplay differences, but personally, I haven't played the original Ishin, so this is all gonna be unthreaded territory to me, if that's even the right way to say it. I don't fucking care anymore. The fact that we're getting Ishin in the West, finally, after, I believe, 8 years since the original release, is just, yes, thank you. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you, Ryuga Gotoku Studios. And this, normally you would think, oh yeah, this is the biggest announcement that you're gonna get today. No, fuck no, we haven't even started here. So, the next announcement, a very brief, Ishin Kiwami is gonna be released in February of 2023. I think that's what they said. So, yeah, that's cool. In 2024, however, we're getting Yakuza 8. With Yakuza 8, we don't really know that much, beyond the fact that Kiryu now just looks like a K-pop idol for, again, some reason. Maybe they're gonna pull the whole Joji Kazama thing, maybe it's just him changing his appearance, as, you know, he probably should have done, considering the fact that he's supposed to be canonically dead after the events of Yakuza 6. I guess that's spoilers, but everything is spoilers here, just be warned. I have no idea why they changed it, but apparently it's gonna make sense with the narrative, so I guess we'll just see what happens. They didn't really speak of it at length. We just know that both Kiryu and Ichiban are gonna be protagonists. I'm not sure what that means for the gameplay. The creators did mention that it's supposed to be RPG mainly. So we'll probably get the moves that we've seen Kiryu use in Yakuza 7 during the boss fights, except more elaborated and this weird, unique job that's special to him. They also said that it's gonna be the biggest Yakuza game ever, which, to me, comparing it to Yakuza 7, which by this point was the biggest Yakuza game ever, probably means that we're gonna get a city like Okinawa or maybe Onomichi. I guess it will make more sense for Okinawa, and I sincerely hope we see that city back, because I loved Yakuza 3, I loved everything that happened, you know, the events between Kiryu and the orphanage and all of that, so I sincerely hope that we see that again. That whole idea would tie into the following announcement quite well, but we're not gonna get to that. All we know right now is that Kiryu has weird hair, and that the conceptual premise behind Yakuza 8 is that we have the comparison of Kiryu being a person with a very heavy past trying to catch up to him, and Ichiban trying to grab a hold of his new and promising future, which sounds really cool, so we're just gonna, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But again, it sounds cool. I'm not sure if it's gonna be with Kiryu's half being predominantly beat 'em up and then the second half being RPG, or again just all turn-based. At this point, I don't care because I'm already hyped as hell, so yeah. Okay, so the last announcement, the proper announcement that we got on the RGG Summit is a new quote-unquote spin-off, or side story I guess, but in a more elaborate way than just your average DLC, akin to something like the Majima Saga or the Kaito Files. The title in question is called Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. I believe that was the name. And okay, right off the bat, which is something I forgot to mention in the earlier entries, I guess we're just going with the fact that Yakuza will now be referred to as Like a Dragon. Because when you look at the official logo, Yakuza 8 is just Like a Dragon 8. There's no mention of the word Yakuza. It makes sense, because it's always been, Ryuga Gotoku, which translates to Like a Dragon. But for the West, it's gonna take a while to get used to it, because we had the weird naming of Yakuza 7 being quote-unquote Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is like the same thing that we've seen with Resi 7, which sounded dumb initially, but if this was the thing that they were building up to, then sure, we'll excuse probably the dumbest naming convention in history, if this was the point. But back to the Gaiden. So, Gaiden is a term that I've been acquainted with, because one of my favorite manga and light novel series called Bungo Stray Dogs has a set of, a side continuity called Gaiden, so it's kind of a common thing that you'll see in Japanese media. So, the man who erased his name, the immediate lamp that came off was literally just Metal Gear Solid 5, which is bloody ironic considering the previous video that I made on this channel, which was just about the development of MGS5. This Yakuza Gaiden is supposed to be the thing that ties the events of Yakuza 6 and 7 together. What happened in the meantime while Kiryu was supposed to be dead as a result of having discovered the Hiroshima secret. And from the events of the trailer, we know that he's working for Daidoji. And if you played Yakuza 6, you'll remember that, spoiler alert, that's the quote-unquote fixer, the guy that was on his deathbed and ordered for Kiryu to be assassinated because of the gigantic political secrets and all of that. Obviously, he needed to wind up working for them, which would explain why he would so nonchalantly appear in public during the events of Yakuza 7, and also he was given probably the best/dumbest name possible in the form of Joryu. Let that sink in. Our boy Kiryu, now, let's just say he's not the brightest when it comes to cool names. He literally named himself Taichi Suzuki in the previous one, so that should say something. But Joryu, this is gonna be a meme. 100% this is gonna be a long-lasting meme in the Yakuza community. But fuck it, I guess that's his code name. We'll see what happened between 6 and 7, and we already got confirmations that this was gonna be a beat-em-up. If 8 is gonna be fully RPG, fully turn-based, at least this game that's of a larger length than your average DLC will be beat-em-up based. And we know that he's, Kiryu, is supposed to let his family go. That's one of the reasons why he's staying at the Daidoji Temple, being one of the quote-unquote disciples for the temple, whatever that means in the context of the story, which, again, may mean that he'll visit Okinawa, maybe say goodbye to his family or whatever. We don't know. At this point, this is just a missing link between Yakuza 7 and 8. And since this will be released in 2023, it's just a perfect break in between the releases so that we can get ready for Yakuza 8 when it releases. But the name of this entry is the thing that just confuses me, or rather intrigues me the most, because the man who erased his name immediately reminds me of the man who sold the world. And if you know MGS5, you'll know that that song has a lot of importance for the narrative of Metal Gear Solid 5. And we also have the fact that MGS5 was released as a combination of a prequel called Ground Zeroes and the actual game Metal Gear Solid 5. So over here we have a similar thing with Like a Dragon Gaiden and Like a Dragon 8. I feel like that's a cool correlation. I have no idea what it will mean for the continuity, if it will even be a proper tie-in to 8 specifically, because at this point it's just, okay, connecting Yakuza 6 and 7. Maybe it will give us some inkling of what will happen in 8. We'll just have to wait and see. RGG Studio said that they were really, really busy these days and working on a lot of projects. And seeing this, yes, I absolutely believe you. If you didn't think this was enough, if you didn't think that 3 game announcements, one of which will be released in less than half a year, we got an additional announcement that wasn't even part of this whole live stream event. And that's the fact that Judgment, both of the Judgment games, are released on PC. As of right now, I'm pretty sure you can immediately purchase and download them. I have no idea how they went against Johnny and Associates, and if you don't know the context, just Google why Judgment will never get a PC port. I'm pretty sure I've spoken about it on this channel as well, but the idea is that the idol agency that owned Kimura Takuya's likeness, the voice actor and face capture artist for the protagonist of Judgment, they were just against the idea of PC ports. And I guess Sega just went, you can make more money from this, and they started to see eye to eye. I hope, I don't know. At this point, I don't even care, because this is another thing that the fanbase has been clamoring for a really long time. So the fact that we're getting a proper PC port, and that wasn't even part of the main announcements for this huge event, just says that it's happening, no big deal, yeah, that's it. I love this. I'm still so fucking confused about all of this. If this was released on April Fool's, I would just say, that just makes sense. But the fact that we got 3 proper announcements, 2 ports that people have been talking about for a while, I have no idea where we go from here. I have no idea what to expect from the series. What, are we gonna get the, Kurohyo Kiwami series somewhere down the line? I sincerely hope we will. But I don't know. I'm just really, really happy right now that there's not much else that I could say. Just, this was a video of me not necessarily venting, but just getting my thoughts out. I wanted to speak of this at length, as I mentioned at the beginning, but I can barely make my mind up in this particular voiceover, so I'm just gonna stop here and maybe make some additional videos on this somewhere down the line when we get more info. Right now, all I can say is just thank you, RGG. Just thank you. Yeah, that's it. I was originally working on a different video to be released this week, but it's become quite an undertaking, and it's gonna take me probably months to release, because it's the Hanya's Advocate episode on Yakuza 5, and it's gonna be a long one, so I have no idea when I'm gonna release that. I also have a lot of college obligations these days, so again, uploads will be slow, but at the very least, that RGG has us covered with a shit ton of content in the meantime. So yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna stop right here. I've been rambling for far too much. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for your patience with the Yakuza series and everything, and I hope I'll see you some other time. Take care of yourselves, and have a great day. Cheers.